Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to another Moralis tutorial video. My name is Vasily, I'm your Web3 instructor, and today we are going to check the result unstoppable domain endpoint for the Moralis API. Unstoppable Domains is an incredible service to buy Web3 domains such as .crypto, .nft, or .blockchain. And today, using the Moralis endpoint, we are going to learn how to take any unstoppable domain and decode it to get the wallet address attached to it. So at the end, we are going to have something like this. Here, I'm going to put one of those domains. So let's say brad.crypto, for example, for the currency Ethereum. For now, unstoppable domains is just supported on the Ethereum mainnet, but maybe they will support more blockchains on the future. And let's click on resolve domain. So as you can see here, I get the response, and we know that brad.crypto is related to this domain address. If I copy this and go to Etherscan, we can see all the transactions and all this wallet information over here. So if you want to learn how to accomplish this, keep watching because we are just getting started. Back to the API reference page, if we use the same brad.crypto and click on try it, we are going to get a response like this, a simple JSON containing just the address we want. And it seems we just need 14 lines of code to accomplish this. For today's tutorial, I'm using React.js on the frontend and Django as our Python backend development framework. So I'm going to stick on Python code, copy this, and let's give it a try. Here on my Django project, I have an empty script called services.py. Let's paste the code. And for now, the only parameter we need to provide is our API key. So if you don't have a Moralis account yet, this is the time of the video for you to hit pause, go to moralis.io and create your free account. Here on your admin panel, you are going to get your free API key. I'm going to copy mine. Let's go back to the code and paste it over here. And this is it. Let's try to execute this on the terminal. So here in the terminal, please be sure you have installed Moralis with pip install Moralis. And after this, we can try to run this. So Python services.py, and I got the same response as on the web page. Of course, we will want to have different domain addresses here and not use brad.crypto every time. So we need to transform this into something more useful to us. Basically, I'm going to take this code and transform it into a function which is going to take the domain and the currency as parameters. And with the magic of addition, I have that function ready, which is called resolve unstoppable domain. And as I told you, it's going to take the domain and the currency as parameters. Also, we have our API key here. And storing your API keys into your code constitutes a security risk, especially if you're going to push your code to a code repo like GitHub. So I'm going to transform my API key into an environment variable. Now we can store the API key here on this .m file, and if you're going to push your code to a code repo like GitHub, just don't forget to add this to your git ignore. And this is it for this script. This is ready to be used on the backend. So I'm going to copy the function name, go back to my project views. Here I'm going to import from .services import that function. Here I have a new view called resolve domain, which is going to get the information we need for this function, both the domain and the currency, from the frontend through this request variable, so I can set up manually those variables. The domain is going to be equal to request.get.getDomain. The same goes for the currency. And now with these two input parameters, we can start using our function. So unstoppable domain is going to be equal to that function. And just to be cautious, we are not going to use positional arguments, but let's specify each one of them. So domain equals to domain and currency equals to currency. The response this function gives us is actually a Python dictionary, and the frontend is not able to understand that. So let's also transform this into a JSON format. So JSON domain is going to be equal to json.dumps, the unstoppable domain, and let's return this JSON. And this view is ready. So let's take the view name, go to our URLs. First of all, be sure you have imported the views from your project. And here I'm going to create a new view. At resolve domain, views.resolve domain. And as we want to use relative arguments on the front end, I'm also giving it a name, which is going to be, again, resolve domain. Let's save this. And this is it for the backend. Let's go to the front end. on the frontend project on package.json, first we need to add a proxy pointing to our Django server. As we are testing this locally, is localhost in the port 8000, and also we are going to use Axios to connect the backend with the frontend. So if you don't have Axios, just on your terminal npm install Axios. On the web page, this domain and currency variables are attached to this params variable, which is going to get an address and a chain. And these two are the parameters we need to send to our function on the backend. So I have here a function called refresh domain, which is using Axios, and here let's connect to that endpoint. /resolve domain, ? And we need to send these parameters. So the domain is going to be equal to that params.address, and the same goes for the chain. The currency is going to be params.chain. If everything goes well, I want for now just have a console.log of that response. So console.log of the rest.data. This refresh domain is also connected to this resolve domain button. So every time we click it, we are going to send a GET request to the Moralis API. So let's try this. I'm going to use brad.crypto again for the Ethereum chain and resolve domain. And I got the actual response, the same wallet address I showed you before. So the only thing left for us is to take this response and show it down here. In my code, instead of using a console.log, I'm going to use this set uns domain, which is going to update this uns domain variable. And here I have another variable called rendered domain, which is going to take that response, and the only parameter we receive is the domain. So we are going to show that domain here, onsdomain.address. Back to the web page, let's use the same stoppable domain and click this, and this gives us the response as I showed you at the beginning of the video. If you think about this was really easy to accomplish, because with just a small script we were able to connect to the Moralis endpoint, and now we are capable to resolve any unstoppable domain we want with almost no effort. How cool is that? And that was it for today's tutorial. Don't forget, all the code for this lesson is on the GitHub repo, so check out the link on the description. And as you're already here, click over here to subscribe to Moralis channel, turn on the notifications, and also check out more videos. Thanks for watching till the end, and see you on the next occasion.